off ice? Were you in a ton of off ice fights?
Yeah, I got in quite a bit of trouble there.
Okay.
Well, I'll tell you this one story here because this involves me playing in St. George.
Okay.
When I was there, so we had a Sunday night game away. Come back, riding the bus back, and we're having a few beers on the bus. And I get back, and I'm all edged up still. I'm like, I need some more beers. I got nothing there. I'm like, I can go downtown and go to the bar. It's a small town.
Yeah. I've never heard of it, so I assumed.
Yeah.
St. George, yeah.
St. George,
and the
yeah.
team is called Saint-Georges Cool FM.
Yeah.
So, like, it's Bush League when the sponsor's in the team name. It's like,
Oh, yeah.
I play for the Armstrong Variety Devils, but that was
Oh, yeah.
fucking house league.
Yeah. It's definitely like that. There's like 3 teams named after a radio station. Right?
It's got like the pink neon right on the fucking.
So I get back, and I'm like, I need to go out for a couple more beers. And my roommate there at the time, he didn't want to go, so I was like, I'm just going to go solo.
Right.
Here's an English guy going downtown in a hardcore French town. This is going to go well.
Right.
So I go to the bar. There's like no one in there. There's like 3 people, one the bartender and like 2 security guards. So I'm like, you know what? I don't even care. I'm just here to drink.
Yeah.
So I go have some beers, and then comes like the last call, all that kind of stuff. And buddy comes to me. He's like, hey man, he's like, you got to go. And I don't know why, but I was like, yeah, I'll leave in a minute. And then he started getting an attitude with me. He's like, hey, you got to go now. Like, you got to leave, blah, blah. And I was like, buddy, if you got a problem with me, I'll be outside. I'm leaving right now. So I locked outside and walked down the steps, and I was like, there's a road right there in the sidewalk. So I'm standing there, just waiting. And then buddy comes out the door.
He's bored too.
I'm like, so I just take my jacket off and put it down. I go, we're doing this? And he starts saying something to me in French, and I get closer to him. I'm like, what's your problem? Right? And he pushes me. So I just grab him, I hammer him, and he's down on the ground. And so I'm like,
I don't appreciate that French shit either.
Yeah. I'm like, well, I took it. He pushed me, man. He made the first move.
Yeah. You pushed me when you should have punched me.
Yeah. So then he gets up and runs up the stairs into the door. So I follow him up, obviously not thinking with the greatest mindset at this time.
That maybe there'll be some other people in there.
Yeah, well, I don't know. So I go and open up the door, and then it's a foyer, like it's a door to a door. So he's hiding behind the next door, locked it. And then the bartender comes over.
What a coward.
She comes over yelling at me, like, get out of here, I'm calling the police. So I'm like, all right, whatever. So I walk out, and I go grab my car, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go back in front of the bar. I don't know why I'm thinking like
just
this.
Want to pound this fucking guy.
But so I go and take my car. It's a one-way road. I go and take my car, and I drive the wrong way down the one-way road, and I park in front of the bar. And I'm standing out front there like a tough guy, just like an idiot. So after like 5 minutes, I'm like, what am I doing? Like, my senses kind of come back to me.
Yeah.
So I get my car, and I'm like, all right, I'm just going to head down this road. And I know like there's a gas station nearby. I'm going to go there, grab a drink, and just go home. So I'm heading down. So I get my car, and I'm start heading down the wrong way. On the one way. All of a sudden, 2 cop cars come flying up the road. Right? And for some reason,
could this be the guy?
Yeah. There's not a single. I forgot that I should mention. It's like 4:00 in the morning at this point. Right? There's not a car like in sight.
Yeah.
So I go and I see these cop cars coming at me, and I'm still driving. And I'm like, for some reason, I'm just gonna like Super Mario Brothers it and go around them. So they come at me like staggered. So I just kind of go like right through them. And then so they, I'm like, oh, I'm going by them. I'm like, oh, I don't have to worry about them. Like, I have no idea what I'm thinking, but so I come to this stoplight, and there's a bridge. Right, so I'm like, I'm gonna go over the bridge. I know where the gas station is. So I go make the right to go over the bridge. 4 cop cars block me off at the bridge, and then there's 2 cop cars come behind me.
Oh no!
And I'm like, this is not looking good. So I put the car in park. Buddy comes, knocks on the door. I go, hey man, like I was out at the bar. I was trying to pick some guys up from the team. You know what I mean? Like,
you gotta mention them from the team. That pause.
Yeah, I probably should have worded that a little better.
Lengthen that pause in editing. Scratch from the team.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm thinking, I'm sitting there, I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do here. I'm in Quebec. I don't speak English. These guys only speak French.
Yeah.
This cop comes to me, and luckily he knows who I am. Because it's like,
I was wondering if that was going to happen.
Cool FM.
so luckily, and he's like,
Cool FM?
he's like, were you at the bar? And I was like, yeah, I was there. I was waiting for a couple guys from my team to come out, and blah, blah. They didn't come, so I left. He's like, okay, just stay here. We're going to call the bar. So I don't know. He comes back to me and he's like, "All right." He's like, "What's your number? Where do you live?" And I'm like, 9 Rue whatever road here.
Deuce.
So he's like, "Okay." I talked to the bar. Everything's okay. You can leave. So they let me leave. I go around these 6 cop cars and I go to the gas station.
Still going the wrong way?
No, this is when I got to the bridge. It was back to normal, right? So yeah, no questions on that stuff. But so I go to the gas station thinking that's all fine and dandy, grab a Slurpee, go home. Next morning I get a phone call, and it's the general manager of the team. He's like, "Steve, were you at the View last night?" And I'm like, "I don't think so." I'm like, I was downtown a little bit. I'm like, "Why do you ask?" He's like, "Well, you need to go turn yourself into the RCMP." He's like, "You're getting, they got charges for it." He's like, "You need to go turn yourself in immediately."
Shit.
I'm like, "Well, what's going on?"
Yeah.
So I go there, and then turns out, like, broke the guy's nose, orbital bone, all this stuff.
Oh shit.
And then on top of it all, they charged me with break and entry to the bar.
Oh, motherfuckers.
Yeah, because they said the door was locked that I opened.
Oh, that's bullshit.
So there's a laundry list of stuff. So it's a whole mess at this time, right? So, anyways, kind of gets put on the back burner for a bit there because it's like you have to appear at this time. They wanted me not to leave the city. I wasn't allowed to leave the province. I'm like, I live in Ontario, like all this kind of stuff for the season because the season was coming up to an end, right?
Right.
So I get permission to leave the province, and finally I'm like, okay. So I go home. Don't even go to the first court appearance. Don't even go. Like, so I phone, like, they're calling me off the hook. I'm like, I'm just ignoring it, like, you know what I mean?
Like
just
a bill collector.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. Then I finally call them back. I'm like, what's going on? They're like, yeah, you need to come immediately, like, to a court date.
And an annoying French accent.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, well, like, don't forget, like, I live 1,000 kilometers away from this place.
Wow.
So this is not like a jaunt down the road.
Right.
So I was like, okay.
It'll take a little planning.
Yeah, so, and like this is the off season now, so I'm like, all right, I'll go. Go to the first one. They're like, yeah, you need to come back for sentencing on this date. But now they've thrown in like there's the assault causing bodily harm with a break and entry, where the break and entry wasn't on there the first time. But then they had thrown it on.
They're annoyed.
Yeah. So
did that get dropped?
So, well, to fast forward here,
yeah,
I end up having to go back out there for sentencing. So I go out there and I was making no money at the time, so I was having to use like duty counsel.
Yeah, those guys are the worst.
So I'm like, I don't know how I was really going to go.
Yeah, they're just trying to like get you out the door. They're like, just plea it so we can make this go away. So I go to coffee break.
Exactly. I go to sentencing and I see like my name on the docket. It's like 5 times. I'm like, all charges. I'm like, this is not looking good. And I go there and they're asking for like 15 months to 2 years in jail.
Come on,
all this stuff. So I go to the guy to talk to him. I'm like, look, like we need to figure something out here. And he's like, well, we're going to try and work something out. He's like, you promise never to come back here. I'm like, yeah.
To St. George?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we come up with like a list of agreements of stuff, like, you know, like not coming back.
Yeah.
I had to show proof that I had signed a contract in the FHL to go play there.
Oh, wow.
Work, all this kind of stuff, right? So we work it all out. They end up kind of taking things off.
One question. Is the FHL the fag hockey league?
I don't know. I didn't go. I didn't end up going.
Okay.
But it could have been.
It was all cool FMs.
Yeah. So I go and see my name there and all that kind of stuff, work it all out, get an agreement. So they're willing to drop the charges if I pay for the door, if I make a charitable donation, like all this kind of stuff, and agree to never come back. And on top of it all off, they want a blood sample for the Canadian database. And I'm like, this is a joke, right?
Yeah, right.
The guy's like, no, like you need to go to the police station and say, George gave your blood. I'm like, no, like this is. So that was one of the requirements for me to get dropped, like get the charges dropped. was I had to get my blood to the Canadian database and pay, and then obviously the other stuff like the treble donation and fix the door and all that.
Wow.
So did you give the blood?
I had to go there. They pricked my finger and all that kind of stuff.
Oh wow!
And then when
just in case you pop up on any rapes.
Well, any more further assault charges, I guess, right? Right. And then a few years later, I get more trouble, and I talk to a real lawyer, and he's like, why is there blood on the database? He's like, what's going on? I'm like, I don't know. That was part of one of the conditions, and he's like, okay, well, he's like, that should have never happened. Like, here's an actual lawyer.
Of course.
Not the guy I hired out of McDonald's, right? So, so yeah, I
mean, you pricked your finger. You did break a guy's orbital bone. I guess it's sort of fair.
Yeah, the worst part is, I was a blackout drinker, right?
Yeah,
so it's like I had no recollection.
Oh, no. So when you said maybe, you really didn't know.
I had no. They were telling me this story.
Oh, right.
And I was like, maybe that's what happened.
Yeah.
They're like, well, we have you on the scene. So I'm like, okay. I have no idea.
Right.
Wow. So that's like, how good is that, though, to never be allowed back into a specific town?
Yeah. Like, drive around that one.
Yeah. You can never come back to St. George again.
Yeah.
That's awesome.